Oh, and other stuff. All right, see you next week.
Bye.
All right, that sounded refreshing.
Was there?
It's a beer commercial now. I love it.
Yeah.
The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. It is time for New Dad Gaming, a show about gaming, fatherhood, and new dads figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 1-year-old.
My name's Gavin. I have a 10-month-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Gentlemen, welcome again.
Yay.
Hello.
Are we keeping you from something, Jeff? That sounded very...
We gotta do this. I gotta get back to work. No. I'm good.
This is work. This is life. E3. It happened. It was a bit more exciting than I anticipated, and I just found myself watching the news. And just trying to find like what the latest release was. Trying to watch the trailer. Did you guys find like a similar outset throughout the week?
Yeah, I didn't really watch any of the live streams. Like I checked into a couple of them here and there. But for the most part, it was just kind of like I'd wait for the dust to settle and then see what was there. Also, like my Twitter feed has a lot of people who are either part of or very enthusiastic about game development. So that was a pretty steady news stream for me. So I just kind of let Twitter digest everything, and then I'd go to a few blogs and see what was there. But yeah, for the most part, it was just kind of pleasant to see some interesting new IPs, but also like some iterations of new stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I had a stream running, but it was from some YouTubers that were doing reactions as it was happening. So I kind of got theirs along with the news. So that was kind of neat. I just had that.
Like a live action fleshy Twitter.
Yeah.
with more characters, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was good though.
Yeah, us dads 3 had discussed trying to just go through the list of all the stuff that had been announced. It's not even all the stuff. This is just what we had captured throughout the week in a list. And should a dad find any of these things interesting from a dad perspective, then they'll say as much, and we'll see kind of where that goes. I'll say this, like it's just floating on a sea of like, look at all of these things I won't be able to play.
Yeah.
These all look amazing. I don't get to play any of them.
It's like looking at my Netflix queue.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
It's just like, here's all this stuff that I find interesting in this immense library that they have available for me.
Yeah.
And even though I've bookmarked them all and put them in a nice little list, I am never getting through this.
Well, that's why it's like a sense of relief when they show like the release date of like 2017 and like fall 2017. I'm like, yes, there's time. I don't have to like run out and get it.
I love that optimism, as if you're going to have time at that point.
Well, yeah.
By 2017, clearly.
Maybe I can block it out.
It'll be like halfway through Witcher.
That's right. I'll still be on Witcher. Let's be honest.
Well, it's like as soon as you get to the end, they just shovel another batch of DLC on you. You're never going to be done.
No, like the next one has like 30 hours. There's no way.
Yeah, plus, when they released that DLC for The Witcher, like, were you happy, terrified? Like,
I was happy,
sad?
terrified. Yeah. Sad that I won't be able to get it because there's no way. Well, I'll probably get it, but I don't want to. The world is beautiful, but another 40 hours with the 2 DLCs.
I'm trying to figure out when you refer to the world as beautiful, whether you mean the world in the game or the world like the outside that you're
blurring together.
In the game.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, which world is more beautiful, Jeff? Which one are you leaving what for?
I go into houses and just loot everything.
In the game?
Yeah.
He's just saying reset. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, this is real life again, isn't it?
This is real life. I'm a horrible neighbor.
There's kids running around.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you try to pull one of the love conquests with your wife. See if that, see how fast that gets rejected.
Yeah.
Like, well, if I got you that vase you wanted, so
Your wife comes home and there's a taxidermied unicorn in the living room, and you're just
Yeah.
sitting there with a smile on.
Let's go. What are you doing?
Oh man, speaking as a
It Remember when I cleaned the garage and you said you owe me?
So this one's not even on the list, but speaking about hours, I'm somebody who put in over the course of like a year, two. I think it was like 2 years. I put in 100 hours into Skyrim, and now they're
Aww, that's
they're
adorable.
yeah, and they're yeah, as if that's a big amount, but they're
That's a
re-releasing it.
fraction of what I've put in with one of my many playthroughs. I put way too much into that game.
Wow.
Too much.
So that's perfect. From your perspective, then, like, what are you done? Like, would you dip in again on the remaster?
No. My toes are staying out of that pool.
It's free. Like you got it on PC,
back.
right?
Eh?
You got it on PC, right? Skyrim?
And Xbox 360. That was the first. Like I played it when it first came out, and then I got it on PC, and then played it again because I just
Could.
Wait, did you say it's free on
PC? If you have the Legendary Edition, it's free, or all the DLCs, it's free.
Ooh.
So you
Just-
might dip back in, eh?
It's like, well, I never beat it. Like I'd
Thanks,
spent
Jack.
that
No one's
entire
beat it.
time. No one's ever seen the end state. So that'd be perfect. I can go back in, just spend the extra 10 hours in the new pretty version, and wrap it up. That's a genius.
There you go.
Perfect. This is for me.
It's basically encapsulated all the mods that have been going on for the last little while to make it really, really stunning. They're just like cherry picked best of, and then put them together and be like, okay, let's send this back out again. But like hearing the theme song for it and just that like roaring choir, I was like, oh, I could feel the itch. And I just like swatted it away.
Your
Totally
fingers just start
getting
going
it.
for the buttons. And,
Yeah.
oh, that's all right.
I got it on PS3.
Big old
and
fuss root don't.
I got it on PS3, and it was the most horrible experience I've ever
Really?
had. Yeah, it was so laggy. Like, if you got into the world a little bit, like the architecture of the cell processor or whatever, they couldn't figure it out, right? So it was the frame rates were like sub 20s, and then every door. I hated going into houses and it load, and you're just sitting there like, oh god, I can't do this. I can't go back in and out.
Yeah.
So I'm up for a remaster. I am interested.
Yeah, for like an optimized experience.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is like I played it on 360 and it ran pretty good. But when I ran it on PC, it ran very well. And like I could walk into a house and it was pretty well zero load time. It was just like, boop, and you get.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And it didn't take too much horsepower, CPU wise or graphics card wise, to do that. So I'm really curious to see what this generation of consoles could do. But from a distance, probably.
We'll see. You should make bets
We'll
now.
see.
Yeah. Does Gavin
Does Gavin install
back
it? Yeah.
That's another one. Okay, let's start plowing through this list. As we said, we'll note.
Yeah, that one's not even new. Let's go.
We haven't started.
It's like E3 2012.
Jeez. I don't. This is probably gonna be multi-episode. I don't think there's any chance we get through this.
No, it's gonna be multi-month.
Because my hand's up for this first one. So Dishonored 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me,
it's interesting. I didn't get a chance to finish the first one yet. Still working on that.
what was curious is like I was playing the first one, and the entire time I was thinking to myself, I should enjoy this a lot more than I'm enjoying this. Like I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't thrilling like I expected it to be. Everything is so tight. Like it's such a great world, but I'm like, why don't I like this? And I don't know if I would dip into the second, maybe on a deal. But yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, I
Looks
want to
good.
finish the first one before I try the second one.
Yeah, that's a good bet. Looks like it's much more the same, but just more intricate. Female lead, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Titanfall 2. Did
I
either of you
never
play
had a
Titan?
chance. Like, it was only Xbox, right?
Yeah, it's Xbox and PC.
And PC.
I want to try it sometime, but like, it's not on PlayStation, and playing it on PC means EA Origin, and I don't want to do that. So
Thumbs down.
I had Titanfall, went through the tutorial, played a match, never went back to it, and now and with everything else out currently, I would have a hard time. It's just I can't do another shooter.
I'm more interested in the Hawken console release that's coming out this year.
Well, That's
That's
coming
been
out.
a while, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they went through a lot of trials and tribulations to try to get this thing ported to console, but they're doing a console release, and I never got a chance to check it out on PC, but it'd be great to try it on console because I'd be getting into a group of people playing it who are just as new to it as I am, as opposed to trying to hop onto PC now with a bunch of like multi-year veterans. So it's like I get another window of opportunity to hop into a multiplayer experience without just getting, stamped as a noob and shoved off to the corner of the room.
Nice.
But, yeah. So as far as mech combat goes, I'm kind of more curious about that. Although Titanfall 2, the single player, really intrigues me.
That looks fun.
I would pick it up for that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. Doom DLC. A bunch of Doom DLC was announced.
Now,
Jeff?
I downloaded the single player Doom demo.
Okay. And
Amazing. Amazing.
Mhm.
Multiplayer was crap to me because you had the loadouts things didn't work properly, rocket launchers didn't blow people up into giblets. But the single player, wow, like night and day. I'm interested
Well,
in
the difference between the reason for that is the multiplayer was done by an outside studio.
right.
And apparently Bethesda, since the success of the game, has pulled the contract work back from them and has taken over the multiplayer.
Because it was such a disaster.
Yeah. So it could be a thing where in the next little while you might see a complete overhaul of the multiplayer experience to better match the intensity of the single player.
That's cool.
But that was sort of the disconnect. It was like Deus Ex all over again. So
so you might like the multiplayer again, but yeah, the single player is it's unbelievable, incredible.
yeah, I can't wait to try it. That's on my list.
Nice. Okay, Prey, or Prey 2, I guess would be. Did they actually call it Prey 2, or did they just call it still Prey?
They just went back to Prey. I'm
Sure, of course
curious
they did.
about it. It looks neat. It's got this sort of like almost like this 2001 vibe with some of the aesthetic and like this like 2001 meets like Portal meets like the Killing Floor. It's like this weird hybrid. I'm curious about it. I'm still sad to see that Space Bounty Hunter Prey will never happen because that was so cool and it looked so cool and I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that game is dead. That said, this new one does look really intriguing. I want to. There's enough mystery behind it that I'm excited for it, and given the first-person shooter experiences that we've been seeing coming out of those groups making it, I think it could be a really fun experience. So I'm excited. And plus, Bethesda also teased Wolfenstein 1 coming out as well in like some little text thing. They never really announced it, but they alluded enough that I'm happy.
So this would be definitely for Jeff, and I'm trying to remember, Gavin, if you've ever mentioned, but Quake Champions specifically. And this looks like straight up Quake.
That could be the multiplayer you've been looking for, Jeff.
I don't know. They made it Overwatchy. It's heroes, like it's champions. See, like they call it Quake Champions. So I'm thinking they're going the hero MOBA kind of. I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
No, you could be very, because it
Yeah.
seemed like they were very.
But there was different people, right? And they all had like abilities.
Little special
I'm like,
powers,
oh,
yeah.
no, don't do this to me.
Yeah,
Like, there's a
that's one
place
thing
for
is like there was something interesting about the level playing field of everybody having the same.
Yes.
Like, I think that's one of the staying power components of Halo, is that everybody has a Master Chief, and you can have like these special abilities now, but for the most part, everybody's Master Chief.
Yeah.
And like the original Quake, that sort of even like Counter-Strike, with the exception of the loadout of your weapons, everybody had the same sort of abilities. Like, it's not like you could pick one person. It's like, oh, he's got green pants, he can see through walls. Like, it's none of that fanciness. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm on a maybe list.
It's just like launched into this current landscape. If this thing came out like early last year, it might have been something, right? Like, hey, it's Quake, it's back, that's incredible. But again, now with Battlefront out, Battleborn out, Overwatch out, there's 2 or 3 other ones actually that are coming around. God, what's the name of it? It's
Like hero
it's
based?
map based. There's a bunch of like, jeez, I can't remember. Anyway, there's two or three other ones very similar to this, and like now this one enters the fray, seemingly having forgotten some of its roots. Like, I don't know, what do you do, man? Like, there's not
I,
enough time.
I don't know if it is evolving with the times and I'm not. Like I'm the crazy old man yelling at people.
You're crazy.
Or if this, if this is a new genre, right? Like maybe it's a thing.
Well, it's a thing. They have to also
What's the
remember like who's going to be buying the game, and there are a few like holdout purists who enjoyed it back when it first came out, but they are also trying to snag a new generation, and that new generation is playing Overwatch. So I think they're trying to find a nice happy medium. At the very least, it seems like it has the same sense of movement and speed that the original one had, and hopefully there is that sense of like, yeah, because I think in the trailer somebody picked up a dropped weapon.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if that was gameplay or.
That's probably
Yeah, it looks like
alluding
a
to the
trailer.
fact that it could be like an Overwatch, but you can pick up a defeated player's weapon even if it's outside of your like.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So
Is it
like that's the
strategy?
thing is like
Like it's.
you want to be able to get that rocket launcher,
Yeah,
and
that's all I ask.
you don't want to just be stuck with a rocket launcher too. If like somebody drops a rail gun, you're like, well, I want to shoot through walls now. So I'm hoping that maybe it's more like you pick characters based on like maybe toughness versus agility. Like
Yeah, because you
this
mentioned
one's
Railgun, and I'm like, oh god, it's like the Widowmaker
yeah.
Overwatch. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's gonna be. So I'm hopeful. Like you said, it could be
Yeah.
different.
Hopefully they listen to us.
Yeah,
They're not listening to us.
listening to this show.
Specifically.
I think it's a little bit on the price. I mean, one of the we'll save it for another show. But I did buy Overwatch, and loving it, having such a great time. But the price, like the price wasn't so bad. I think it was like roughly the $40 for the basic version, and you're like, okay, I could do that. Like so this one comes out and it's like $20 to $30. You know, I think that's something. If this one tries to come out and it's like $60 for an
Well, it depends on what
online.
you're buying it for too. If it's coming in on console, it's
Yeah.
$80. Overwatch on console is $80. Then you have another $60
Yeah.
worth of online subscription a year
Yeah.
to play it online.
That's why I found it very thin, right? Like I'm not spending $80 on what's $40 on a PC.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it on PC as well. Like it's,
But maybe they go free to play. Like that's an option too. Like Warframe and some other ones.
yeah, Warframe's doing really well and it's
Yeah.
free to play.
Yeah, could be that. That would be a very interesting way, and even because at that point, I could definitely just try it, right? I wouldn't care about that. There's no
Yeah.
way I'm dropping another 40 on another multiplayer shooter.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
We'll see.
Okay. The Mass Effect Andromeda.
I'm hooked. I'm curious. They got my attention. I enjoyed the original trilogy. I'm happy to see the Mako back in action. I love driving around in that little buggy so much. Yeah, no, I'm curious. I'm happy to see this sort of exploration of uncharted territories. I think it should be a lot of fun, and if they keep that, I think that's the one thing about the first game I really liked is there was this sort of exploration aspect to it that was really good. That's why I liked driving around on the surface of the planets and kind of charting them and all that. So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, just thinking about the that like, when you think back to the first one, and that I like the driving element too.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, like it was so sparse. Like those landscapes were just so barren. Like it was
Well,
unbelievable.
yeah, but they were barren planets. Like
Well, you know what I mean.
it's not like the Mars has like a Jamba Juice every 20 meters. Like it's an uncolonized desert planet.
But imagine if each time you went to one of those, it was something slightly akin to No Man's Sky, as far as like they're a bit more populated, like even the ridges or the canyons, and every now and then you go to something that maybe has some trees. You know,
Maybe.
like
I liked the bleakness of the first one because if you look at the statistic probability of landing on a planet with ferns, it's very, very, very rare. Most of them are giant balls of rock and gas that all wants to kill you. And I liked that hostility of it. I felt that made the universe feel like, I think aesthetically they could have gone with more variety of like rock formations and perhaps weather effects or things like that. But I wasn't really looking for as much in regards to variety of like flora, fauna kind of thing. Like No Man's Sky is cool, but totally not plausible, because if you're gonna go full space nerd, like most of them are like Mercury or Mars or Venus, and it's just so not wanting life to exist on it.
So did you ever have the cow steal your money in Mass Effect?
The cow?
There was one planet where there was this cow-like creature that if you turned your back on it, like all of a sudden a bunch of inventory would be gone, and then you look back around and it's just standing there like moo. And then you look away again and like more stuff of your inventory just goes away mysteriously. So there's this little Easter egg they included where it was just stealing this cow that's... Check some video.
Cow?
Yeah, there's like this Steven cow on some random planet. It was I never got to find. I only found it like years later as a video, but it's absolutely.
That's brilliant.
He looks so unassuming when you go back and look at him. He's like, "What? I'm just a cow.
Just a cow.
Nothing going on here."
Nothing happening.
But no, I'm absolutely stoked for this. I mean, I think the Mass Effect series had provided me some of the most incredible gaming moments I've had. Like, just absolutely love the story. They were so good at that story. The scope of it. You and I definitely agree on that. Yeah. I mean, Gavin, you may remember, like, after I beat Mass Effect 3, I called you and said, "Can we go for a walk? I need to talk to somebody about this ending."
Oh my God.
I was so, not distraught, but it was just like, I had to talk to somebody about this. I need to settle. We went on this big walk. We had this Mass Effect. This cow stole my money.
Talk me down, like buddy.
The type of talk you have to have with somebody where he's like, I don't know. I think my high school sweetheart and I just broke up before going off to college. I need someone to talk to. Like, it was that sort of, I don't know what, like, up is down, down is up. Let's just go for a walk.
I feel so empty. What do I do?
Yeah, I got thrown for a loop because that series was just fantastic. So super stoked for this one.
Mm-hmm. And it looks really pretty too. Like, it looks like they've really upped. And it was already a really good-looking series. Like, it was good at raising the bar in regards to that fidelity. And I'm happy to see that they're sticking to form. So,
absolutely. So, Battlefield 1.
Yeah, I'm interested. Looks neat. The destruction with the Zeppelin or whatever going in and destroying the map as you're playing it.
Yeah, if that's more than just a cutscene, if like the world is truly that destructible, then it's interesting.
Like Battlefield 4 has
that with like Battlefield games where a skyscraper will fall down mid-match, or like a tsunami will flood the map. There's like one map I remember in Battlefield 3 or 4 where there was like a rainstorm and like a flood happening in real time. So the map went from like being very pedestrian heavy to very boat canal heavy, like, because the streets just flood and then people are zipping around in dinghies or fighting on the rooftops. So it's like this sort of, the way that you have to tackle the map had to shift as you're playing it, which was really interesting.
Remember their cheesy trademark? It was Levolution.
Oh, yeah! They made up a word.
I don't know if it's the same thing with this one, but let's see.
I don't know. I think that person got fired.
Yeah,
so
probably not. I think they dropped that real quick.
Or promoted. Levolution.
Promoted.
High fives all around.
Yeah.
God. Injustice 2.
Yeah.
It looks fun. I think that studio's been doing great stuff with fighting games, and I'm happy to see like a nice variety of characters, even though it's DC. I'm just joking. Supergirl looked pretty awesome in it. I don't know about this armor thing, but I'm sure they've written it into the narrative somehow. But like that weird sort of like your armor gets better. You kind of Iron Man yourself.
Or who you defeat, like you get different armor.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, just let me fight them. Like, I think sometimes they try to justify the combat between these superheroes and the plausibility of it too much. which I commend them for doing. But at times it kind of just takes the mysticism out of it. It's like, it's just make believe. It's just make believe. Like, I do understand that if Superman punched Batman in the face, he would turn his teeth to ash. I understand that, but we're just playing a make believe thing. It's just fun. It's just fun. Just have fun with it. Just have fun.
So the Star Trek VR.
Nah.
No, but fun concept. That would be.
Yeah.
I think they had like LeVar Burton play it and stuff.
They had four.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it. It's
7 of
4
9.
of the previous. It's the captain. I'm very sorry. I don't know these guys, but it's the captain with the beard that always like stepped over the chair.
Oh, that one must have been the newer one, right?
Yeah, the new generation.
I didn't.
Yeah, it was the female captain. They got 4 like legit Star Wars guys. Star Wars. Wow. Oh God, Carlos, what have I done?
End the stream.
I literally heard a bunch of torches light up and pitchforks get sharpened as soon as you said that. That is.
So because they got Mark Hamill to put on the Star Trek VR set.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
Yoda was
guys,
there, and it was a cool time.
Wrong set, guys. Jeez. Anyways, got a bunch of legit Star Trek characters to come in and play it, and they were just boasting. It was unbelievable.
It does look like it's not my reservations about the game. The game looks interesting. I'm just not that tickled about VR yet. So if I do finally get snagged and bit by the VR bedbug, then that will be one I will gravitate towards. You know, if they can make it as brutal as FTL, I'd be very happy. Like if I have to like sit in VR and watch like
suffocated.
And watch my number one
Just
like
floating off
suffocating next to me. Like if I have to sit
Just grabbing
in my
you.
captain's chair and just watch like Riker's pupils dilate as the oxygen leaves the room, then I think that would be a very interesting experience.
Sounds like DLC or a mod.
Yeah,
I think
that's exactly it. The FTL level of difficulty. It's like just above hardcore. It's like, yeah, everyone's going to die. You can die horribly in the cold vacuum of space where there is no such thing as love.
So I think some of the best times to have with this type of thing would certainly be, well, ideally in the same room with people that you know, friends, or even at least friends online. But if you require 4 your buddies to have 4 VR sets and 4 copies of this game, like it's starting to become a bit onerous to make this thing happen. I mean, if they do something smart where...
Well, honestly, with that amount of money, you could rent a convertible and like go down to like, isn't there like a Star Trek like theme park exhibit thing in Vegas? Or something like that. Either way, like you could do a 1-week trip to like faux Starfleet with your friends for the price it would cost to have all the materials necessary to do that.
Go to the science center. I still think they have the teleporter where you can go in and release yourself and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I get what you're saying. Like that's a lot of money and a lot of friends that have to have that money, or dads that don't have that money and take it out of their kids' college fund to.
Or dads trying to set up times with other dads. Like
this
is a podcast online, and it's a nightmare to get us 3 in a room. Like, imagine us trying to set up a VR game.
Attempt 3 for us this week.
Yeah.
Or is this 4? Well, Sunday doesn't really count.
I lost count. It's blurring together.
It's a lot.
It was a lot. So.
And one of them was tech proms, right? And just like imagine the tech proms that exist with VR sets. I'm like, how? I applaud your ambition, but damn, you better find ways to make this easy.
I think it's really intriguing right now, but the technology is still so much in its infancy that for it to become like a household thing, I think it's still a little ways off. You know, there's connection issues and lag issues from just picking up a controller and wanting to drive a car next to somebody else. So sharing a holographic virtual world together, that's another tier of difficulty. So yeah, but you know, that's my reservations with VR.
They also said like they
Trek.
I don't think it was shown, but one review I heard said that this would work very well just even on a screen. So the 4 of us got together with laptops. You have to imagine they'd have to think through that a little bit as far as.
Well, all VR really is an FPS, but like you're using the accelerometer in the helmet to dictate where you're pointing your camera.
That
The
can
other-
work though, like the tablet thing. I think of the Jack Party Pack where it's everyone's got like their phone that can play, so everybody has a tablet, and you each have your own like one has the shields and one has whatever, and you have to
And actually,
coordinate.
even if they set it up where it's on a tablet, like a second screen thing, so like it's running off the console, and use a tablet as a second screen.
Yeah.
And you lift it up, and you can look around the environment and use a tablet as a window rather than the VR goggles. And then you can use the tablet to tap on things in the environment and move them around. Something like that would be
Or the TV is your window out of the spaceship,
exactly.
and each of you are just sitting at your console with your phone.
Yep.
So there's probably ways to go
Like
about it.
there's an augmented reality thing that you could do with a room full of people with tablets synced to a console linked to a television. But because that's the thing is like for 4 different people to have that expensive of headgear
In the same room.
in the same room.
Yeah, in the same room.
And honestly,
you have to issue commands, right? You have to say, "Hey, shields up," or
That's hilarious to be in the basement with a VR headset on, shouting out commands if you weren't in the same room and it's just you online. Captain.
"Thrusters to full." All right.
yeah, I knew a kid who did that back in high school. He was a nice guy, but yeah.
Rhymes with Mavin, or
Yeah, I wasn't that enthusiastic, luckily. Actually, no. Like, I like this sort of this pull to back towards like playing make believe, because essentially what VR is, it's like a socially acceptable make believe that you have very expensive tech to justify. But in reality, it's just like trying to encourage people to just improvise together in a fantasy world. Whatever kind of gets people doing that and having fun without any sense of like, I look like an idiot, because let's face it, anybody with a VR headset on their head looks like an idiot. They are not flattering whatsoever. They're cumbersome.
I keep wanting googly eyes to be on the outside. Like somebody was...
Oh, that should be mandatory.
it's just like, and your kid walks in the room while you're just like knee deep in one of these games.
Yeah.
And you're yelling stuff about shields and looking around
Yeah.
like a moron.
Yeah, that's
Like
the
Cookie
other
Monster
factor
eyes?
too, is I like having my wits about me, and it's just something about this sensory deprivation technology that drowns out your surrounding world so much. There's just, I don't know. It's not that I don't trust the world around me, it's just I like to have an idea of what's going on around me.
Someone's out to get Gavin.
Someone's
Just look over his
It
shoulder.
could be ninjas at any moment.
Any moment. So yeah, I just don't know about... I like trying to keep myself connected to the world. That's why I tend not to use my phone too much. So I think like VR is like very beyond me, because like I find using my phone too much of a disconnect from the world around me. So the VR thing is just like, it's so down that rabbit hole. I don't know if I'll ever get to it. So, but
It's
the idea of a
even
fun
better,
Star Trek game, please deliver it. Let's see if we can get it on other media other than just like a tech demo for a headset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an even better babysitter. Just like slide it on top of your kid.
Yeah.
He's now in a virtual world without having to leave. You walk away for a couple hours. Perfect.
Just
Perfect
make sure that you
babysitter.
didn't have Resident Evil loaded on beforehand.
God.
Oh god, no way.
That's
Yeah, so-
a lot of therapy bills.
So Resident Evil 7. Is it only VR or just that you can?
No,
VR?
apparently you can play it like first-person style.
Yeah, okay.
Insane.
haven't-
That's a heart attack. There's no way.
No, yeah.
Did you see it? Like the person walking down the hallway, and then the person in the VR headset like goes to follow them. Like, no, you wouldn't do that.
That's
I'm out.
terrifying.
See you later.
Yeah, that's a lot of nope. No, I want to play the game, but just like in that method, it's like, nah, that's... when I play like Outlast or Alien Isolation with headphones on and a monitor, that's immersive enough that I get freaked out. So I don't know if I could do the full like with that because they got some really nice lighting effects going on there, like some really creepy stuff where you're like, ooh, this is the kind of dark hallway you don't go down, and the
No.
game's like pushing you down it. Yeah, no, the VR thing's interesting, but I don't know if I want to venture down it. But I'm happy to see Resident Evil kind of shaking up their aesthetic. I thought Resident Evil 6 was a little too
Yeah.
action movie based.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they've really, really gone back to the horror roots. You know, I think they needed to do that because that was one of the biggest critiques of their last iteration. Was just it felt too much like this sort of Michael Bay explosion bonanza kind of thing. It's just like, it's just it's supposed to be scary, and when you're like, surfing on a tsunami, uppercutting zombie sharks, it's kind of like, oh, this isn't horror anymore. This is just spectacle.
It's not immersive.
Zombie
Yeah,
sharks.
imagine that in
Yep.
VR.
Don't think that game's on the list, Zombie Sharks, but it should be next year at least. The okay, so there's one called was it? Never mind. Skipped on the list. So this is the Xbox and PC. Buy it once, play it everywhere. So if on PC you bought, let's say Forza 7, I don't know if it's an actual one, but we'll roll with it. You buy it for PC, you can also play it on your Xbox and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like, because as a PC, if I did decide to buy a console, it would be cool to know that if I'm traveling with like a gaming laptop, my whole Xbox, well, I know it's not the whole, but let's suspend belief for a bit. Much of my Xbox library travels with me, much like a Steam account, as opposed to, oh no, that's this game for that place, like that console, but this is this game for this other place, and no, you may not cross it. And Microsoft, why not flex those muscles? So
Well,
it
especially
sounds
considering
good.
that they have the Windows platform. Like, you have this whole other game space that right now is being dominated by a non-Windows company, by way of Steam. And, like, goodness sake, even, like, good old games and EA Origin have a larger foothold of the PC market than Microsoft does. And they're Windows. Like, they make the OS for PC. I think it's a great idea. Like, you kind of have it already with PlayStation, because they have the PlayStation crossplay, where a lot of games you can buy, and it's functional on your Vita and your PlayStation. Like, it kind of trickles down to all of your devices. But to see that on a PC platform is great, because what I like about that is the potential for backwards compatibility. Because a PC version, as long as your driver files can do it, it should be able to run it. It's not like an Xbox 360 versus an Xbox One, where there are certain DRM things in there as well. Like, realistically, the hardware of that should be able to just grab that disc and go. But there's some software stuff, and there's probably some hardware stuff as well that I'm just not an engineer, so I don't know. But there's these sort of walls that prevent you from carrying your library over with you. So if it's backwards compatible enough on the PC version, and it's cross-play compatible with the console, then one would believe that when the next iterations of the consoles come, you have that library come with you. And I think that could help build up brand loyalty as well. Part of the reason I felt very comfortable hopping over to PS4 is because I knew my 360 games were useless on an Xbox One back when I made the decision. So if that was the case back then, I might have been more likely to stick with Xbox, thinking, well, I have all these other games I can take with me and experience their new ones.
And if you think about that gaming legacy, as far as if you do have a library and it's stuff that you and your kid plays, or something you even want to kind of allow your kid to experience, but you've kind of stopped at a console. Like the PS2 to PS3 thing was great as far as continuing with it. And now if they continue that lineage, like, you could start to amass this catalog that you could pass on as an inheritance to your kid. But more than that too, just like it would be something that it's a library that your kid can play, because if you continue to upgrade your console, much like a PC, like you said.
Yeah.
So that could be the house's game. Like the house's game library now seems more extensive.
Kind of. What I found is that, like with Super Nintendo, I could have kept all those games, but I could just download an emulator, right? Because
Yeah.
technology has advanced so much that I could just emulate the games that I did have, but don't anymore, and share them that way. The
Yeah, but Jeff, we're talking about legal things.
yeah, no, I bought them once.
Uh-huh.
But with this one, I thought like, and I think a lot of people were thinking that this was kind of the white flag. Like they admitted that, okay, Sony, you won this round. We're gonna make all our exclusives available on PC,
Yeah.
right? So why even get an Xbox? Like, I don't.
I just think there's enough households where I just thought as there's enough PC gamers certainly, but even me owning a gaming PC, I still look at these consoles with lust sometimes. As far as it's there, it's dedicated, it connects to TV, it's got a bunch of other great stuff they can do,
Yeah.
but
It's a great media tool.
Yeah,
And there's something nice about sitting on the couch and putting your feet up and enjoying a game on like a nice large TV.
no
Then
drivers, no
you don't have to
hardware
no
issues.
driver issues.
internet, like right? You have the $60 a year
Yeah.
internet.
That's if you want to play online.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
could-
maybe that goes by the wayside, maybe not. Who knows?
I don't know.
But it just the same. Like it, even I will say, even as a not dedicated, someone who's getting all his games right now, dedicated. Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Dedicated. I mean, it's a
Dedicated.
Levolution word.
I'm dedicated to my PC.
Oh.
Levolution. My
Dedication.
high fives. Where's my high fives?
When you have a son, you have to step up. You need a certain level of dedication. Keep saying it. Gavin's gonna melt. Dedication. But no, that's it. Like I'm very interested in consoles for that reason. Right now, like I'm so interested in VR. I'm so interested in No Man's Sky, which is also releasing on PC. Theoretically, I could get the Oculus or the Vive and play No Man's Sky on my PC. But the thought of how damn complicated that's going to be and how much can go wrong by the nature of PC, like it means I will buy that as a console. So I think it's a position of strength. Well, no, I think it's brought on by heavy competition, and they're not doing so well in this console war. But I don't know that it's so much like just white flag as it is. You know, this is the market. This is the potential. Let's do it.
Well, and it's also they see territory that Sony can't grab. Like, it's really difficult for Sony to expand into the PC market, but Windows already kind of has the back-end stuff ready. So it's a lot easier for them to be like, okay, well, we're going to start doing games. Like, they experimented a bit with games for PC, I think with like Gears 2 and that like years back, trying to get people more into using Xbox exclusive material on a PC. But I don't think the experiment really took. But I think now is a better time to implement it. And like that's the thing is I'm curious about the new Xbox, especially that new Slim one that got announced. That looks nice to me. Like I do like the idea of a dedicated piece of equipment that I can hook up to my TV, and it's not my computer. I don't have to sit in my computer chair. I can just relax on the couch.
Plus your kids, right? Like the PC is a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
That's Daddy's machine, and then the Xbox is the family machine in the living room.
Yeah. There's something kind of nice about a console. Like it's
Jeff
a little
seems
bit more
so
streamlined.
Jeff is so
It's another
not buying
gamble.
it.
It's another gamble, which I commend them for, right? Because they gambled with Kinect, it failed. They gambled with Xbox One being a media center, and I think that's kind of torpedoed now. With the Slim, it doesn't
Which is
even
funny
have a
because my
Kinect
friends
sensor.
do that. I have a couple friends, and they have twins actually, who are just a little younger than our baby. And because they have twins, their arms are always full with babies. And they use the Xbox One as a media center and use the voice commands on the Kinect. Like they use everything that Microsoft has tried and hasn't quite stuck with the hardcore community.
There's your target.
Their target market is a new family with twins
There you
who
go.
are like, Xbox, play, Netflix, Orange is New Black, episode 4. And like that's it. Like, that's what they would... And it's working, and they love it. They absolutely love it. But it's like they're that slight percentage of it working and actually taking. Because like the material works. It's just it seems like the audience isn't there enough for their shareholders to be happy. So,
It's
But
interesting,
too bad.
though.
But it exists. There's people who like that stuff.
Okay, we're actually almost through the list. We're doing pretty good. Game called For Honor.
Oh, that melee combat one by Ubisoft.
Yeah, with knights running around.
That looks interesting. It's like knights and Vikings and samurai.
But it's just like, man, with all the games, like God, like it's again another online thing you have to learn.
Yeah.
Another game. It's just, and in a genre that's similar to some of the other ones, as far as it's certainly different in that it's knights, it's a team of 4, it's feudal.
Well,
It's interesting.
At, Chivalry, that one that came out by Torn Banner Studios a little while back. They've actually moved on to a new multiplayer one with like mages and wizards and stuff fighting each other, and it looks pretty cool. But yeah, Chivalry was a first-person melee medieval combat. They also had like bows and crossbows and stuff, but it was mostly just like dismembering each other with axes and swords. But it has existed before, but not in like a third-person space, and not as quite as stylized as we're seeing in For Honor. But
but a lot of it's the same formula, just as far as like capture this flag and then go to this other place and like get this zone. It's just it just feels really saturated right now with this stuff.
Yeah, it's all about just the main mechanic is you and your team overpower the other team and capture their territory. That's it. Like it's very, very basic. There's not a lot of like asymmetrical combat going on. It's not like you have like Evolve looked really interesting to me because it was one being hunted by 4, except that one was more powerful than the 4. Or like with the Alien vs. Predator game that came out years ago, the multiplayer on it was actually kind of intriguing because you had 3 different species who all played different mechanics wise. And different game modes that would play to that. And one of the really interesting one was called Infestation, where like you would have a group of Marines and 1 alien. And then that every time that person as an alien would kill a Marine, they would turn into an alien on their respawn until eventually there was 1 Marine standing.
It was such a good game.
And yeah, there was like a Predator one where everybody got turns being the Predator, and in order to be the Predator in the next round, you had to take them out. So like that sort of sense, and that's something I wish I could seeing more right now, because right now it's all about team mechanics and very unique character loadouts and builds and styles. But that sense of like, how do we, how does this team versus that team, how are these teams so different, but how are they going to one-up each other in combat? And there's not enough of that asymmetry going on. It's just very much like 2 evenly matched teams, and it's very much like Rocket League in the sense of gotta score a goal. We're all the same, just score a goal. So yeah, I don't know. Like, we'll see. But yeah, I do agree. It does feel a little tired right now in that sense.
And just like Quake, again, it feels like if it was launched 2 years ago, it'd be pretty fresh. Like it'd just be, this is a pretty interesting take on the multiplayer space, but at the moment, like, man, we're being bombarded with this.
Yeah.
And it's not, you can't sit down and play this with your kid. No. So it's like, it's very much just going to be a dad solo game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just honestly, I'm kind of, they don't intrigue me as much as they used to, because like the videos always make the experience look better than it actually is. There's a lot of times where I see, I experience a better, or I experience it not as enjoyable of an interaction with the people I'm playing with online.
Well,
and it's just like,
look at Division. Remember when that came out and they showed a trailer and people were like, yeah, let's go. We'll line up at that door. And then you go through. I'm like, yo, yeah, that's what people do on the internet. One guy's probably like spinning around you, like firing up in the air. Like,
yeah, it's not as well composed.
No.
That's well composed. That's great. So speaking of that, next one is Ghosts Recon Wildlands. Which
I'm done with Tom Clancy. It's
a tactical. So it's a one-player thing, but apparently their buddies can join in. You know, like all of us dads who have tons of buddies online, and you play levels, and you're going against drug kingpins.
It's all the same to me now. I don't know.
It's just too. The world is
You
so.
get, like Jeff's attitude is like dropping.
so,
Dude,
like,
this he
done.
started with so much energy.
Yeah.
It's all the FPSs, right? And they all like very similar, very, or they're like rebooting so quickly now. It's like I know they do an annual thing, but it seems like now there's like 6, 7 of them that all do an annual thing. So there's like the Call of Duties and the Ghost Recons and
Yeah.
Call of Duty Ghosts and
Yeah. Let's I think we can move on from that one. So here's one for you. And this is a good one for kids. Just Dance. They launched a new one. Yeah.
another one. Like how do you iterate on something that's about?
Those are just new song libraries. That's all it really is.
Oh.
But did they not give you that ability to purchase that?
They do by way of buying a new game.
Like make it like Guitar Hero where they
do.
just put up songs.
New dances, maybe, like perhaps.
No,
They
that's a
treat it
no
like a
from me.
sports game.
Okay. South Park and the. Jeez, what was the title of it? It's another RPG and it's a rip on the superhero genre.
Yeah, I can't remember the title.
The fractured whole.
Oh, probably.
That sounds about right, I think. Fractured butthole, or like the fractured butthole. Oh, butt. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, you did it.
there
That's
we
where like I never even connected that dot until I said it out loud. I'm like, oh, I see what you did.
No.
Made me look like an idiot.
Darn it! Oh,
I'm out of South Park. I don't know. That's a different target, I think.
yeah, I started to
Apparently,
play the
Stick of
Stick of
Truth was
Truth.
really good. So
I had it. I had played a little bit of it. Haven't really gone back. Every now and then I think of it, like, oh, it might be kind of fun to do it. But there's just some elements where it's just they're so clever, and sometimes then there's other parts where you can literally just go to the washroom in every toilet you found, and you have to mash a button to make it happen. And it's just like,
Yeah.
You just
Not
changed a
exactly
dirty
half
diaper. I
bars.
don't want to.
yeah, I'm dealing with this stuff on the daily, man. I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
game with it as well. But it's an incredible amount of depth. It's actually like a surprisingly good RPG as far as those mechanics. So I don't know. In some ways, I might proceed through it. We'll see. Watch Dogs 2.
Lies. They
Wow.
their initial. Okay, yeah. See, this is where
We are losing you quickly.
yeah, Jeff's done.
Watch Dogs, the original, they showed off this amazing trailer, all the stuff you can do. When it launched, it was not that. It was broken. It looked awful, or at least worse.
And the
than what they
graphics got
put through.
nerfed too. Like there was all this
Hard.
apparently one person went into the back folders of the game and found all the proper resolution textures,
Oh my God, that's even
and they
worse.
existed. But they just decided, for the sake of the build functioning better, that they would just they just nerfed all the textures, but they didn't delete the old files.
Oh my God, that's like seeing all like the mods for Skyrim, and it's like, look, it's like real life, but it runs like 10 frames a second, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, anyway, for Watch Dogs, I believe nothing they say.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting launch because like that was very public, like that backlash.
Yes.
That, if any, like that is like the biggest in recent memory, that has to be the biggest E3 lie controversy we've seen, like of note, right?
Yeah, it's a combination of that and I think Alien Colonial Marines.
Oh,
That one
God.
had a huge stink behind it too, because when it came out, everybody's like, "This is not what you showed at E3."
And
So
they bet hard
it'll
on
be
it.
so interesting to see what they do to it, because if they don't know that that's the case, well, they're going to read it online. They're going to see the reactions.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to basically be Jeff and worse.
I don't know if they care. It seems like they just.
I'm hoping they're not lies. If they're not lies, it will be a very fun game. I'm happy it's not a brooding white dude in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Like,
It's colorful, right?
That's
Like at least they
yeah,
switched
like
that up.
the protagonist looks cool to me, and I like this sort of hacktivist thing that they got going. Like narratively, it looks more intriguing than the last one. The last one was just like a little bit too Neo with an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with this one, yeah. But that said, like, I don't know. You know, And it's another open world game, and like
Yeah.
yes, they're fun, but I don't want to make my own adventure. Just give me an adventure,
Give me a tight story, goddamn.
please.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
yeah.
All right, so okay, Jeff. If nothing gets you, like Gwent
Gwent.
as a standalone game.
You have to play Gwent. So
Got
anyone-
him. We got him. He's happy. It's
anybody
happening.
You
that is
got him with
playing
The Witcher.
Witcher.
Doesn't matter.
It's a
Still
card
counts.
game. Card
Big-
game in Witcher. It's
Big
amazing.
smile on his face.
Oh, it's awesome. It's your Hearthstone. It will take your life away. It's fun. It's fun. But again,
Like how that's a selling point.
yeah, it'll take your life away. No, I find it very. I don't know. It was in the game. It was a good distraction just for like a fun. I don't want to fight monsters anymore and play some cards. And you go around collecting cards, whatever. And I've never really been a card guy. Like I wasn't really into Hearthstone. It was okay. But this one I really enjoyed. And I'm not sure what platforms are launching on, but it better have an iOS like mobile.
Yeah,
I
they'd
won't
be
buy
so
it.
foolish if it's not on iOS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's built for that. It has to be.
that.
Well, there we
Yeah,
go.
I'm back.
And on a high note, I kind of drop it there. There's more. There's more to talk about, but because
But
geez,
Jeff's
there's,
happy, so let's end on a happy
Yeah.
Jeff.
Hey, yeah.
there's all of the Microsoft conference and all of the PlayStation one, but I think we'll save that plus whatever comes out.
Yeah.
I think this thing is wrapping up today and tomorrow. However, I would like to quickly. So two things on the beer. So firstly, I'd like to see what were your beer choices for the week, and maybe Jeff's beer is bad, and he's just been sipping on awful ale this whole time and just ruining his mood.
You know what? It's ruining my mood because I already drank my beer and I'm out. So we were supposed to do this podcast a couple days ago. I couldn't hold out.
So you've been moving further and further away from your beer.
Yes.
Okay.
But this one's a really good one. Again, it's a local one. Guelph, Ontario, if anybody's familiar. It's called Prison Break Pilsner. Really good one. Really hoppy.
I was gonna say, isn't that
strong.
super hoppy?
It's not super hoppy, but it's got some kick taste to it. Like you need to like it. But no, it's a good one.
You need.
I'll get it again.
You need
should
to
be
like
the-
it.
You need to like
The
it. You need to
slogan
go
on the
get it.
can. Yeah, you need
But
to
you
like
have
it.
to like it.
I had a beer, but I'm totally blanking on the name of it now.
Good
Not
beer.
the one I just had. That was just a standard lager I had kicking
Filler.
around. But I had one on Sunday, or no, Monday, and it got consumed while we were having technical difficulties.
Great.
It was hoppy. It was good. I will. It was a
Oh, the-
session ale.
Oh, the hoppy good beer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sawdust City, I think, was the name of the brewery.
Okay.
And it was their Gold Beach Session Ale, I think it was called. Local beer out of it's in a small Ontario town. But yeah, it was good. I liked it. I'll have more information about it next week. This week I was just drinking like some Sleeman.
Okay, wait, so
Yeah,
Jeff,
that-
you said yours is from Guelph.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's from Guelph. Nice.
Oh,
So this is
cheers. Oh,
go Guelph go. So this is Wellington.
Oh, I drank.
oh yeah,
Wellington.
Welly.
Yeah, except now this
I like
one in
the beer.
particular. So this is the Wellington SPA, the Special Pale Ale.
Ooh.
Of their beers, this is my favorite of the one that they do.
Mm.
Just it is an incredibly tasty ale. Like it is. There's so much to it without being overbearing. Or you could have a couple of these, but it's that perfect mixed thing where it's like you're not going to kill yourself if you have more than one, but you could appreciate it if you only had one. Well, there's some people, much like Gavin just said, like a session ale, like you have one of them and you
Yep.
appreciate it, and then you go back to like Sleeman and have like a nice easy beer. You could have a couple of these, but at the same time, if you had one, you'd be happy and satisfied. The best part too is like it's what my dad laments about this is that like Wellington is named for the Duke of Wellington, like,
Yeah.
this old English dude, but instead they decided to go with the Wellington boot.
Yep.
Which because I understand it's more marketable certainly than some old British
But
lord
in-
or British duke.
In
but-
truth, were the Wellington boots not named after the Duke of Wellington?
You'd think so, I wonder.
I wonder. I don't know.
Either-
I will make a quick note about beer. Last week, I got to try the vanilla porter on tap.
Mm-hmm. On tap.
It was nice. It was really good. It was a little more desserty than I usually like, but I really enjoyed it. But it was definitely for me like you have one and you move on to something else. But
you're not doing two of those.
I was at a bar the other night and they had it on tap, so I'm like, oh, there it is. Let's give this a try as per Trevor's recommendation. And yeah, it was tasty. It was good.
Already working. Look at that.
Man, piece by piece. Those stocks in Mill Street are going to finally pay off.
You mean the empties you have in the garage?
Yeah. The collector's items once this thing blows up. All right, so a new dad challenge for next week. This is a challenge for you both. And I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. So we're going to go on a journey together. You might have noticed that this year a bunch of places have introduced what they're calling hard root beer.
Oh, I've already had one.
Oh, God.
Nah, don't do it.
Come on. You got to do it on air just the same. Try a different one and see if it's salvageable. And Jeff, I want you to get one too. And on air, we're going to try hard root beer. Because I love root beer. Like,
I'm going to
buy
make a beer cocktail with like some rum. Because that was really the thing. I was drinking it and I'm like, I could do this with like a better root beer as a base. So I will make a root beer drink, and if it turns out good, I will share the recipe.
Okay. I don't know. That feels like kind of a cop-out. I want you to try this stuff, because if it ends up being garbage and the three of us hate it, then we can just write it off.
But I already know.
I saw a tweet today, and apparently Mill Street even has a hard root beer.
That's the one I tried.
You tried that? Oh man, you tried Mill Street and it was bad?
It wasn't bad. Like, it was tasty, but it just tastes like root beer.
Yeah, exactly. So you have root beer and you're getting drunk. It's perfect. Everybody wins.
Mm.
Had some ice cream in there for a nice root beer float. You're laughing.
That's a hangover.
God. Do you drink it cold or is it warm like A&W?
Oh.
You know how they serve it warm? You're like, oh god, this is even more horrible.
I think it's supposed to be cold. All right, but belly up, gents. This is happening. I want to see this.
All right.
So we know not to try. Apparently, the Mill Street one is bad, which I'm sad to hear.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm mistaken, and I tried.
So any other one? It's just hard.
I'm pretty sure that we tried the Mill Street one, and it was like, it wasn't bad. It tasted like really good root beer, but it kind of reminded me of like the same reason you drink a Smirnoff. You know, it's like it's the type of drink you drink to not know you're drinking.
When you're 16 and you want
yes,
exactly. And you want the effects without the taste.
Exactly. Like, it was a very tasty glass of root beer, and I had a bit of a buzz afterwards. But like,
you see, I think this is this. I tend to think this. If this takes off, I think this is this generation's Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Oh, easily, yeah. It's exactly that type of drink, which I don't gravitate towards because, like,
well, the reason we used to drink it, but because we were young and we didn't like the taste of alcohol. So it's like, okay, this is the least alcoholic tasting alcohol.
It's just sugar.
That was.
You get such a headache from it too. Like your hangovers were so much worse.
Yeah.
You're just drinking pure sugar.
But you're young and made of rubber, and he bounced back the next day.
Bounce right up.
Okay, so root beer. We're gonna confer on chat to make sure we don't buy the same one. And we'll see. I can't wait to watch your reactions. I'm excited now. Especially Jeff. You seem so.
You'll have like bad attitude, Jeff, again. Like,
I've ruined. You had such a great mood after I mentioned Gwent, and now it's like.
No, it's coming down again.
Root beer. Don't make me do this.
Make Jeff have the warm one.
Nasty. All right, everybody. This has been New Dad Gaming. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to get in contact with us, please visit us on our website at newdadgaming.com. We do this podcast weekly, and you can subscribe to it from iTunes and any other of the podcasting services. We'll see you next week, and until that time, my name is Trevor, and I have a 1-year-old.
My name is Gavin. I have a 10-month-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
All right, and Jeff will be in a much better mood next week.
Hopefully.
No, we won't.
No, he won't. He'll start in a good mood, and depending on the game list, you guys are up or down.
Place your bets.
Place your bets.
The winner has to drink a root beer.
Oh. And the
Just drink a
loser has to
second.
drink a root beer.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See you.
Bye.